She's a history maker, an inspiration, and face of women's rights around the world, an international diplomatic heroine, and the live embodiment of Wonder Woman. She's Hillary Clinton, a strong woman, wife, mother, and leader. Someone who breaks all the glass ceilings and proves time and time again that nothing is impossible. So whether you're a political junkie or just wondering what all the buzz is about, look no further. We're here to give you 107 facts about Hillary Clinton. Let's get started. Fact 1. Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton was born on October 26, 1947 in Chicago, Illinois. She grew up in nearby Park Ridge. Fact 2. Her father, Hugh Rodham, was a business owner. He began working in the textile industry and later owned a drapery business. Her mother, Dorothy Rodham, was a stay-at-home mom. Hillary has 2 younger brothers, Hugh Jr. and Anthony. Fact 3. Hillary's father played football at Penn State, then enlisted in the Navy after Pearl Harbor. Afterward, he briefly worked for Scranton Lace Company, a textile business where his father worked, but he soon left and went to Chicago without telling his parents. Hugh found work selling drapery fabrics around the Midwest and sent his earnings back home. Fact 4. Hillary's mother, Dorothy, met Hugh while applying for a job at the same textile company. She always encouraged Hillary to do greater things because she didn't want her daughter to be trapped by limited choices like she was. Fact 5. Hillary's dreams had no limit. When she was young, she dreamt of being a journalist, a baseball player, and even an astronaut. She actually tried applying to be an astronaut in the 60s, but was told by NASA that the program did not accept women. I bet they're sorry now. Fact number 6. Of course, that didn't stop her. Hillary grew interested in politics at a young age and worked hard in school. Her 5th grade teacher, Mrs. King, loved teaching Hillary so much that it was said she moved on to teaching 6th grade just so that she could have Hillary in her class again. I'd say that's definitely a star student. Fact 7. Big dreams aside, Hillary was like any other teenager. She loved Paul McCartney, and she went to a Rolling Stones concert in 1965. Years later, she would meet her teen idols Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Mick Jagger. She said that when she met them, she wasn't sure how to react, if she could shake their hands or jump up and down squealing. Pretty sure she went for the handshake. Fact 8. Hillary's teen crush was Fabian, the singer and heartthrob of the 50s and 60s. Hillary was actually the president of the Fabian fan club. You can't say she isn't qualified now. Granted, there were only 3 people in the club, but they took it very seriously. After Fabian heard Hillary's confession many years later, he actually complimented her by saying, "She's got bigger balls than most men out there." Best words from your childhood crush. Hillary was very active in her community, besides fangirling. When she was a teenager, she organized a babysitting group that looked after the children of migrant Mexican workers in rural Illinois. Wow, way better than hanging out at the mall. Fact 10. In 9th grade, Hillary would sometimes show up to school wearing her Girl Scout uniform. Yes, it worked well for her because years later, she would promote school uniforms, saying they help students focus more on learning instead of what they're wearing. Fact 11. The Maine Township High School South class of 1965 voted Hillary most likely to succeed. Pretty spot-on prediction. And it started with her going on to win the TV quiz show College Bowl several times. Fact 12. Hillary went to Wellesley College in Massachusetts, where she studied government and politics. Wellesley is a private women's college with other prominent alumni, including Madeleine Albright, Diane Sawyer, and Cokie Roberts. Hillary was chosen by her fellow students to speak at their graduation ceremony, when it wasn't even a tradition yet to have student speakers. The faculty agreed, and Hillary became the very first student speaker at Wellesley College. She made headlines for this historic moment, including in Life magazine. In her commencement speech, Hillary spoke about making the art of the impossible possible, saying that fear is always with us, but we just don't have time for it. Not now. Even at 21, her speech-making skills were pretty strong. She received a standing ovation lasting about 7 minutes. That's a long time to clap. Fact 15. The 60s were known for its civil rights movements, and many U.S. citizens began working for African Americans and women. Hillary was one of them. She strongly believed in equal rights, and so she switched over to the Democratic Party. 16. Oh, you didn't know? Hillary was once a Republican, like her devoted Republican father. She even campaigned for Barry Goldwater in 1964. She switched parties in 1968 while still an undergrad, and went on to work for Democratic nominee George McGovern in 1972 and Jimmy Carter in 1976. Talk about a change in major party, I mean. Sorry. 17. Another big reason she became a Democrat? She was inspired by a speech she heard in Chicago made by the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and decided she wanted to work in public service. She definitely had a dream. Fact 18. In the summer of 1969, Hillary worked various jobs in Alaska. Some included washing dishes at Mount McKinley and working at a cannery in Valdez, where she gutted and took the slime off salmon. She was later fired for complaining about the health concerns, but let's be real, gutting fish is not an easy task and does have to follow a health code. Hillary applied to grad school and was accepted to both Yale and Harvard law schools. Unfortunately, when she met one of the renowned Harvard law professors, he decided to tell her, "We don't need any more women," and she didn't need that kind of thinking. Hillary decided to go to Yale. Number 20. At Yale Law School, Hillary was one of only 27 women in a class of 235 students. Talk about a men's club. 21. Hillary worked various jobs during her summers in law school. She first came to Washington, D.C. to work on U.S. Senator Walter Mondale's subcommittee on migrant workers. The next summer, she worked for the Democratic presidential campaign of George McGovern. 22. During her time at Yale, Hillary grew a special interest in family law. This led to her concern and later work with health care, particularly for children. She volunteered at the Yale Child Study Center and at New Haven Hospital, providing free legal service to low-income families. She also worked for the Children's Defense Fund and continued there after she graduated Yale Law with honors in 1973. Fact 23. Hillary met Bill Clinton at the school library when they were both law students. She saw Bill across the room, stealing glances at her, and went over to talk to him. Bill later said that he was so nervous when Hillary came over to speak to him that he forgot his own name. Fact 24. After graduating Yale, Bill moved to Arkansas to teach law at the University of Arkansas. Hillary went to Massachusetts to continue with the Children's Defense Fund there. Fact 25. The following spring, she traveled to Washington, D.C. to serve as a member of the Presidential Impeachment Inquiry staff during the Nixon-Watergate scandal. Hillary was the only female counsel on the investigation team. This would be a running theme throughout her career. 26. When Nixon resigned a few months later, Hillary decided to move to Arkansas to be with Bill and also started teaching law at the University of Arkansas. She was only 27 years old, and already she had experience with presidential impeachment, campaigning, migrant worker issues, children's defense, working with low-income families, and now teaching law at a university. Oh, and let's not forget gutting fishes. So what would she do next? Fact 27. 27-year-old Hillary tried becoming a U.S. Marine while living in Arkansas. She was quickly dismissed when the 21-year-old recruiter told her, "You're too old, you can't see, and you're a woman." Told her to try the Army because maybe the dogs would take you. Hillary decided that she would find another way to serve her country. Take that, Sergeant. Fact 28. In 1974, Bill Clinton ran for Congress. Hillary helped him with his campaign, but Bill lost the race. Trek on, buddy. Fact 29. That year, he also had a hard time winning the Hillary vote. Bill Clinton proposed to Hillary twice before she said yes. Tough crowd. Bill and Hillary were married on October 11th, 1975. Fact 30. His better luck continued as Bill then became Attorney General of Arkansas, and he and Hillary moved to Little Rock. In 1978, he ran for and won the position of Governor of Arkansas, and Hillary became the state's First Lady. Fact 31. Hillary attends a separate church from her husband. Born and raised a Methodist, she didn't want to abandon her roots when she married Bill, a Southern Baptist. And while Hillary carries around a small Bible in her bag, she told the New York Times her faith has always been primarily personal. Fact 32. Hillary worked her way to becoming a prominent lawyer in Little Rock. She was the first female lawyer at her law firm and was later named one of the nation's 100 most influential lawyers in 1988 and 1999, already breaking the mold. Fact 33. During this time, Hillary Clinton actually out-earned her husband by a landslide. As the governor of Arkansas, Bill Clinton was earning a salary of $35,000 a year, while Hillary was making an income of over $100,000 per year. 34. In 1980, a little girl was added to the Clinton family. Bill and Hillary welcomed their daughter, Chelsea Victoria Clinton. They named her after Joni Mitchell's song, Chelsea Morning. Fact number 35. During Bill's term as governor, Hillary worked on fixing many issues concerning children. She wanted to improve schools because she believed a good education was a necessity for children, and her daughter inspired an even bigger effort to make that possible. 36. One way she saw through to these goals was helping to create the Arkansas Advocates for Children and Families organization, whose mission is to be an independent force to provide information and education to parents and citizens about our state's policies toward children and families. The organization still stands strong today. Fact 37. Hillary also served on the board of the Arkansas Children's Hospital and helped fundraise for it. It is now the 10th biggest children's hospital in the country. Fact 38. In 1992, Bill Clinton ran for President of the United States. Again, Hillary supported her husband any way she could. She made TV appearances and gave speeches during the campaign. When Bill was elected as president, Hillary set up her own office in the West Wing of the White House, ready to work. Fact 39. When Bill was campaigning in the election, Hillary was highly criticized for her past decision to continue working while Bill was serving as governor of Arkansas. She responded by saying, I suppose I could have stayed home and baked cookies and had teas, but what I decided to do was to fulfill my profession, which I entered before my husband was in public life. Burn. Fact 40. Hillary addressed the issue later in 1995. She gave a speech in Beijing, China. She said human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights. She made clear her belief that all women around the world should have full access to education, health care, and jobs, and should be treated equally when taking those opportunities. Hillary was a very active First Lady. She fought for many issues focusing on human rights, including health care and civil rights. Once in office, Bill appointed Hillary to head the Task Force on National Health Reform in 1993, which fought to provide health care for every American. Fact 42. Hillary is known for being so determined and resourceful, she even once convinced a newspaper delivery driver to take her to the Atlanta airport at 5 a.m. She also protected her daughter so strongly during her husband's campaign that many people did not realize they even had a kid at first. Not easy to beat the media. Fact 43. Have you heard the phrase, "It takes a village"? Well, it was none other than Hillary Clinton who made that line extremely impactful. It was the title of her book, published in 1996, which presented her vision for the children of America and stressed the importance of making the right choices when raising our country's children. Fact 44. In 1997, Bill Clinton started a charity called the Clinton Foundation, in which Hillary became a key figure in its works. The foundation serves to improve conditions regarding the environment, health, and wellness, climate change, and women's rights. And in 2013, the name was changed to the Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation. Fact 45. One of the biggest achievements of the Clinton Foundation was helping provide over 11 million people with low-cost HIV/AIDS medication. This allowed many women around the world to get good jobs and support themselves for the first time. 46. Other Clinton Foundation work includes providing over 31,000 U.S. schools with healthy food options, reducing over 33,000 tons of U.S. greenhouse gas emissions every year, and providing over 100,000 farmers in Tanzania, Rwanda, and Malawi with climate-smart agronomic training. Toward the end of Bill's presidency, Hillary was offered numerous positions, including teaching positions at universities, and was even asked to head certain companies. But Hillary chose a different path and decided to run for Congress. In 1999, she became a candidate for a position as Senator of New York. Fact 48. Hillary ran against Republican candidate and New York native Rick Lazio and won the 2000 election. She became the first female senator of New York and was re-elected in 2006 by a landslide. Get it, girl. 49. When Bill reached the end of his presidential term in 2001, it soon became his turn to support Hillary and relish in any events involving balloons. Who doesn't love those things? Fact 50. After the 9/11 tragedy, Hillary was a key player in acquiring $21 billion for New York City, along with senior Senator Charles Schumer. She also played a big part in investigating the health issues faced by 9/11 first responders, eventually achieving the first federal funding spent on medical monitoring of those responders. 51. Hillary also had a big role in the Children's Health Insurance Program created in 1997, known back then as the State Children's Health Insurance Program. The program provides federal funding to states to help facilitate health coverage for low-income children and has provided coverage to more than 8 million kids. The late Senator Ted Kennedy told the Associated Press in 2007 that the Children's Health Insurance Program wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Hillary advocating hard for it. Even Nick Littlefield, Kennedy's aide, said that Hillary had been a one-woman army inside the White House to get this done. Fact 52. In 2007, Hillary announced her decision to run for President of the United States in the upcoming 2008 election. She was a popular candidate and gained a ton of support. But Senator Barack Obama won the Democratic nomination by just 103 delegates. Close race. He went on to win the election, making history as the first African-American president, and then chose Hillary to be his Secretary of State. Fact 53. In her concession speech, Hillary spoke strongly and even foreshadowed her future presidential bid, saying, "Although we were not able to shatter that highest and hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it has been 18 million cracks in it, and the light is shining through like never before, filling us all with the hope and the sure knowledge that the path will be a little easier next time." Hillary actually turned down the Secretary of State position multiple times, but President Obama would not take no for an answer, and she eventually agreed. She felt that it was her duty to answer the president's call to service. So on Monday, December 1st, 2008, President Obama announced Hillary Clinton as his choice for Secretary of State. Fact 55. Despite the hard-fought campaign, Hillary and President Obama grew quite a friendship. In June 2008, they talked on the bus on the way to their first joint event in Unity, New Hampshire, a town chosen not only for its name, but also because they received exactly the same number of votes there in the primary. The rally in Unity sent an unmistakable message that the primary was behind them, and they were now on the same team. She also grew very close with Michelle Obama. They bonded over their shared experiences as First Ladies. 56. Now, like friends often do, there were some disagreements. When Sarah Palin was announced as John McCain's candidate for vice president, the Obama campaign suspected that her nomination was an attempt to win former female Hillary supporters. The Obama campaign released a negative statement and reached out to Hillary to do the same. But she wouldn't. She didn't want to attack Palin just for being a woman trying to gain the support of other women. She told them no, and a few hours later, the Obama campaign changed their tune and congratulated Governor Palin. And that, my friends, is what we call good sportsmanship. Fact 57. During a meeting in 2009, President Obama suggested to Hillary that they conduct the rest of the meeting at the picnic table outside the Oval Office, and she agreed. They tried to meet at least once a week, and in the end, Hillary was at the White House more than 700 times during her 4 years as Secretary of State. Well, that's gotta be some kind of record. Fact 58. During her term as Secretary of State, Hillary went to 112 countries and traveled almost 1 million miles. Hillary said her first goal after leaving the State Department was to sleep in, and we can agree she definitely earned it. With her senior advisors Jake Sullivan, Philippe Raines, and Huma Abedin, they spent a total of 87 full days in the air on board the special blue and white U.S. Air Force 757. Fact 59. Hillary's first trip as Secretary of State was to Tokyo, Japan on February 16, 2009, which already was a change since the Secretary's first trip was never traditionally to Asia. This showed America's new focus on the region, and Hillary had a great time reconnecting connecting with Japanese Empress Michiko. She also went with Secretary of Defense Bob Gates into isolated North Korea on July 10th. Number 60. In October 2009, students in Lahore, Pakistan rallied to protest Hillary's visit. Her staff warned her that she would be a punching bag in Pakistan because of their increasing anti-American feeling, but she thought it was important to meet and engage with them and responded by saying, "Punch away." Hillary spoke about internet freedom at the Museum in Washington in January 2010. She called out nations such as China, Russia, and Iran and let them know that the U.S. would promote and defend an internet that is open to innovation, secure enough to hold people's trust, reliable enough to support their work, and most of all, an internet where people's rights are protected. Thanks, Hillary. Fact 62. When Hillary found out that the U.S. was one of the only countries not participating in the World Expo in Shanghai, China, she hustled and quickly put together a team to make sure that the USA Pavilion would be a success. For Hillary, the best part of her May 2010 visit to the Expo was talking to the young Chinese and American students. Fact 63. To improve human rights, Hillary decided to rejoin the UN Human Rights Council. She met with the council in Geneva, Switzerland in 2011, advocating for the rights of the LGBT community around the world. Fact 64. As usual, she was the only woman at a meeting of the Gulf Cooperation Council in Doha, Qatar in January 2011. She continued on with business, and the next day, she told Arab leaders her concern that in too many places, too many ways, the region's foundations are sinking into the sand. Fact 65. In late 2011, Hillary met with President Thein Sein of Burma in an attempt to develop their democratic process. She was the first U.S. Secretary of State in over 50 years to visit the formerly closed country. 66. The first time she met Burmese Nobel Peace Prize winner Aung San Suu Kyi was in December 2011, and they were both wearing white. Even though they had just met, Hillary felt like she had known her whole life. Fact 67. That same month, Hillary met with Afghan female activists in Bonn, Germany, during an international conference. After the fall of the Taliban in 2001, Hillary began giving her support to Afghan women while they fought for equal rights. Fact 68. British Foreign Secretary David Miliband was an invaluable partner and friend for Hillary Clinton. On their first call, he complimented her by saying she was the right Hercules for this task. Fact 69. When Hillary was in Pristina, Kosovo, during her time as Secretary of State, she found herself in front of a huge statue of her husband Bill, who's revered by their people for his role in ending the war there during the 90s. Across the plaza was an adorable boutique with a familiar name, Hillary. The shopkeeper said they named the store after her so that Bill wouldn't be lonely in the square. Aww. Fact 70. Hillary's time as secretary wasn't all business. While in Cartagena, Colombia for the Summit of the Americas in April 2012, she joined staff for a birthday celebration for her Assistant Secretary for Western Hemisphere Affairs, Roberta Jacobson. The media later asked State Department spokesman about how much fun Hillary had, and her official response was, a lot. Work hard, play hard. 71. As part of their Feed the Future initiative, Hillary Clinton and Tanzanian Prime Minister Mzango Pinda did some planting at a women's cooperative in Mlandizi, Tanzania in June 2011. She sang and applauded with Malawanian women at the Lumbadzi Milk Bulking Group in Lilongwe, Malawi in August 2012. Fighting hunger and poverty was a no-brainer for Hillary, and it didn't hurt that there was also a Hillary Clinton shop in Karatu, Tanzania, which was another sweet compliment. 72. In November 2012, she negotiated with Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi in Cairo an attempt to end the violence in Gaza. Morsi then helped her negotiate a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas that still stands today. Fact 73. Hillary had also been aiding in talks with Iran during these few years, the first time the U.S. had attempted to do so since the 1979 revolution. 74. A Washington Post poll in December 2012 found that 68% of Americans approved of Hillary's accomplishments as Secretary of State. 66% 46% had a positive opinion of her, and 57% would support her as a presidential candidate. Fact 75. All good things must come to an end. In 2013, Hillary left her position as Secretary of State. She was replaced by Senator John Kerry of Massachusetts. Kerry previously ran for president in the 2004 election as the Democratic nominee, but lost to Republican candidate George W. Bush. 76. Hillary began another project for the Clinton Foundation in 2013 called No Ceiling, the Full Participation Project. The goal of the project is to encourage all women to participate in society as much as men do. Hillary often focuses on women in the workforce and getting more of them into jobs that are typically male-dominated, like jobs in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. 77. In 2014, Hillary published her memoir, Hard Choices, a book about her time as Secretary of State. The book sold over 23,000 copies per week. It ranked as the #1 political book of 2014, totaling 217,000 copies sold by August of that year. Fact 78. In 2015, Hillary once again campaigned to be the Democratic nominee for the 2016 presidential election. Her major challenger was Bernie Sanders, and though it was a tough race, Hillary won the Democratic nomination. Fact 79. In her 2016 speech, Hillary talked about her experience working for the Children's Defense Fund in the 70s. She went door to door in New Bedford, Massachusetts, who were denied the chance to go to school. She met a young girl in a wheelchair who told Hillary how badly she wanted to go to school, but it didn't seem possible. So she gathered facts, built a coalition, and convinced Congress to ensure access to education for all students with disabilities. Fact 80. Hillary stands for making public college debt-free. She proposes the new college compact that would make community college free and give students the possibility of attending public four-year colleges in their state debt-free. If they did need loans, the interest rates would be cut way lower than they are today. Current debt holders would be able to refinance their loans under current interest rates. She also proposes universal preschool access for all four-year-olds. 81. Hillary is a staunch supporter of women's health care. During her time as Secretary of State, she told a congressional hearing that family planning is an important part of women's health, and reproductive health includes access to abortion. Fact 82. Hillary believes climate change is an emerging problem. She plans to have 500 million solar panels installed in her first term and create enough renewable energy for every home in the nation. This energy plan serves to help cut oil consumption by a third. 83. Hillary Clinton was named the most admired woman for the 11th year in a row in the 2014 Gallup poll. In total, she's made the list 17 times, more than any other woman. 84. The posts from the Hillary Tumblr site went viral from almost the very first one in spring 2012. It showed her in sunglasses texting on her BlackBerry while on the C-17 military plane she usually traveled on. 85. Hard to believe that Hillary's a grandmother. Her daughter Chelsea has 2 children, Charlotte and Aiden. Fact 86. Everyone needs a pick-me-up. Hillary once explained hers, saying, "When I get tired of reading hundreds and hundreds of pages of depressed reports about what's happening somewhere or another, I either watch decorating shows on television or I read what we call shelter magazines that tell you how to decorate your home if you have the time to do so." Fact 87. Another stress reliever of hers? Hillary enjoys watching HGTV's Love It or List It. She said, "I find it very calming." Fact 88. She also loves reading detective novels as her cheap thrill. And back in the 80s, Hillary used to work out at the YMCA when she needed to cheer up, get those endorphins. Fact 89. Hillary was always believed to be a Cubs fan, which seems normal since she's from Chicago. But she caused a small uproar at one point in her career when she was seen wearing a New York Yankees hat. She admitted she actually grew up loving both teams and hoped there would someday be a Cubs-Yankees World Series. But in 1994, she clarified that her #1 spot goes to the Cubs, saying being a Cubs fan prepares you for life and for Washington. 90. The last time Hillary drove a car was actually in 1996. She announced this fact at the National Automobile Dealers Association meeting in New Orleans. She said, "I remember it very well. and unfortunately, so does the Secret Service, which is why I haven't driven since then. It also might be so she can challenge people to a shot contest at any given moment. In 2008, a story surfaced recounting Hillary and Senator John McCain taking vodka shots during a congressional tour of Estonia in 2004. It was confirmed by Hillary's campaign manager, Terry McAuliffe, and by the owner of Gloria Restaurant, Dmitry Demyanov. Though they both took 4 shots and kept their composure after, Hillary was declared the winner. Maybe a foreshadowing? Fact 92. Hillary has actually won a Grammy. In 1996, she won the award for Best Spoken Word Album for the audio version of her book, It Takes a Village. She credited her success to the influence of Eleanor Roosevelt. Fact 93. Hillary once compared her doctrine to that of the fairy tale character Goldilocks, saying, "My doctrine is the Goldilocks doctrine, not too hot, not too cold, just right, as it should be." Fact 94. Hillary cares very much about how the media portrays women. She even called out a reporter in 2010 for asking a sexist question. When he asked her about her taste in clothing designers, Hillary responded, "Would you ever ask a man that question?" His answer was, "Probably not." Yeah, then you should probably not ask anyone that question. 95. In 1998, Hillary appeared on the cover of Vogue, but she apparently backed out at the last minute for a 2007 shoot, saying that she didn't want to look too feminine. Well, when you get asked questions like that last one, who can blame her? 96. Or when you get poked fun at in comics. In 1992, The New Yorker published a cartoon of a woman shopping and saying to the saleswoman, "I need a jacket for the office." Nothing too Hillary. Looks like people were fixated on her clothes from the beginning. Fact 97. Rodham, a film script that has everyone buzzing, tells the story of Hillary in her 20s. Rumors are it's being rushed to the green lighting stage, and some of the actresses in talks are Emma Stone, Ellen Page, and Lena Dunham. Fact 98. When Hillary Clinton announced her second presidential bid on April 12, 2015, she did it with a video in which she declares, "I'm running for president." The video features the stories of different American citizens, with themes revolving around helping the middle class and reducing income inequality. Fact 99. She later announced Tim Kaine, the senator from Virginia, as her vice presidential candidate. Kaine graduated from Harvard Law School and practiced law for 17 years before serving on the Richmond City Council. He was later elected as mayor of Richmond, then lieutenant governor of Virginia, then governor of Virginia, and finally as the state's U.S. senator. Fact 100. When Hillary Clinton accepted the nomination for president at the Democratic National Convention, she became the first woman to top a major party's ticket. In her speech, she gave an optimistic outlook for the country and stressed unity and working together. Some major celebrities who support Hillary include Sigourney Weaver, Star Jones, Jamie King, Connie Britton, Elizabeth Banks, Meryl Streep, George Clooney, Sarah Silverman, Lady Gaga, Amy Schumer, America Ferrera, Kerry Washington, Beyoncé, Katy Perry, Magic Johnson, Salma Hayek, and Robert De Niro, just to name a few. Fact 102. Some of the main speakers at the 2016 DNC who voiced their support for Hillary were President Barack Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama, Senator Bernie Sanders, the Khan family, the LGBT caucus and the Black caucus, the Hispanic caucus, the Women's caucus, and many, many more. What a support system. Fact 103. Clearly, Hillary's been a lot of firsts in this country, including being the first lady to have a postgraduate degree. She also spent 20 days simultaneously being a first lady and a senator during the transition between Bill leaving his presidency and Hillary taking her seat as a senator. Fact 104. Fun fact. Hillary is known to put hot sauce on everything, even her salad, and is also known to carry hot sauce in her purse. Guess she's not afraid to feel the burn. Fact 105. In 2015, she published a recipe for chocolate chip cookies on goodhousekeeping.com. Don't worry, there's no hot sauce involved. Fact 106. You can bake cookies and still rule the world, and Hillary's proved that. She ranked number 58 in Forbes' Most Powerful People in 2015. Fact 107. Always standing up for herself, Hillary originally kept her maiden name after getting married. She explained that it separated her personal life from her husband's public work life and said it showed that I was still me. It unfortunately upset both her and Bill's mother, and she eventually changed it a few years later in 1982, though she is still often referred to as Hillary Rodham Clinton, and perhaps soon President Clinton.